Hello and welcome back to Chris's Granite Paradise. Uh, Today I want to continue our series that we're doing about different natural rocks that are found here on the sculptures. And today I'm going to talk about Unakite. I think Unakite is kind of a generic name, probably given erroneously to some rocks that are green, but true Unakite is basically an altered or metamorphosed granite. And I imagine by granite it could be gneiss, it could be any of granite's derivatives that are subsequently altered again, in which, if I understand right, the plagioclase feldspar is altered and replaced with epidote, hence the green color. And the specimens that I'm going to show you today are all from the Cache La Poudre River near Fort Collins, Colorado. And the sculpture I'm showing you right now is covered with rocks from that river. And you can see there's quite a bit of green. It's fairly common to find. I just want to point out some of the interesting specimens I've come across over the years. Probably the material you see online, or that's been done like in carvings and jewelry, is the material that's more dense. And the way you can tell in a river rock that it's dense is that it's smooth. For example, you can see the different colors, which, let me wet this for you. The colors are obviously more visible when they're wet. But when you feel the rock, there's no difference. You can't tell which crystals are which because they've all eroded equally, which means it's a uniform hardness, which is ideal for polishing, for cutting and polishing and making cabochons or carvings and things of that nature. Something to the contrary would be, I remember I have one right here. So here is the same exact material, but if you feel this one, you could probably see it in the video, it's very rough. It's pitted, chunks are missing out of it, and so that would be a more crumbly version and probably wouldn't do you much good if you're making the jewelry. So you want to look for the ones that are consistent, free of cracks. At least if you're in an area where this material is common, which it is here. There's actually quite a bit of it, but a lot of it is what I would call that low grade. It's pretty yard rocks, and they look good on the sculptures, but they wouldn't do you much good for jewelry. This is another example of the really good stuff. And again, when I say good, I mean it's smooth. It's not cracked. It's not pitted. You can find the exact same material that is pitted and cracked. This would be another example of what I would consider a higher grade. Beautiful colors there. I always try to remind myself to not move the rock around too fast, because the viewer gets dizzy. Smaller piece of the same. So it's basically orthoclase feldspar, quartz, and maybe a few other minerals, but mostly orthoclase. Feldspar is the red or the pink, depending on the variety you find. And of course, the quartz is either colorless, clear, or white. And then sometimes the whole rock was basically, you know what, I can't pick that one up. I'll have to just scoop some water up here. Sometimes the whole rock turns green. So like I said, any type of granitic rock that undergoes this metamorphosis, so if it was a coarse grain granite, if it was a super fine grain granite, for example, this looks like almost a solid green, but if you look at it up close, if the sun were out, it actually sparkles a little bit. Of course, you can't see that now. But so this was just a fine grain rock made of the same material, and it underwent that process of being replaced with epidote. This is another of the same. Should have brought my spray bottle out here. Then you'll also find them, show it to you dry first. I like to show both. I like to not wet them right away because you want to see what they're going to look like when you're out finding them, unless you happen to go out in the rain, which I like to do. It's much easier for me to find stuff in the rain. I always like to say that every rock tells a story. Set him down. So here you can see there's actually two sets of veins going through. One is a darker green and one is the really light green. And I'm not sure what the difference there would be. If you know, you can please let me know in the comments. But these are also common here. In fact, we've gone on hikes in the mountains west of town and I've actually found bedrock of this particular material. So this is one I can say I kind of know where it's eroding out of and coming down from. Beautiful material. And then another interesting pattern, again dry. I probably never would have picked this up, but I went out when it was raining, and it's a very uniform pattern, which is actually really cool. Just a lighter green and a lighter pink, but very evenly spread through the rock. I'm not sure if that was a granite or what before it went through the process. Here comes the sun. Again, that beautiful combination of the red and pink with the darker green. This is just another solid one. A lot of the solid ones, they kind of grade from almost a gray to a really dark green. So I don't pick them up too often unless they're quite green. Sorry, I'm getting these wet before I can show them to you dry, so I might as well just show them to you wet. This is another one that would be kind of gemmy. It's very hard, very dense. No pits. And sometimes you find them with the light green veins more vivid, and that's when it would really look pretty, I think, if you were to cut it and polish it. Anyway, thank you for joining me again. One by one, I want to go through the different rock varieties we have, and I hope you'll stick with us. And let me know in the comments what you think. If you know any good places to find Unakite that you're willing to share. Again, these are all local here. These are all from the Fort Collins area. There are tertiary gravels out in the fields near here that are not related to the Poudre River, and there's even more of this. I'll do another video on the ones from that location in the future. Have a good day, and keep stacking up rocks.